Welcome to Healthcare Entrepreneur Academy, where we seek to educate, motivate, and inspire professionals into starting their own healthcare businesses. Learn from leading healthcare entrepreneurs and other business experts as they share their journey and provide a glimpse into their playbooks for success. Loaded with valuable insights and actionable strategies, this show will guide you on your path to freedom. Now, please welcome your host, entrepreneur, healthcare practitioner, and MBA, Jason Duprat.
This episode is sponsored by my free presentation for the Ketamine Academy. If you're tired of long hours, constantly being on call, or having to give up your nights, weekends, and holidays, all for an employer that only thinks of you as a productivity number that they're trying to maximize, then it's time to break free from the hospital grind, become your own boss, and finally take control of your professional trajectory. It's time you start your own practice. I know it sounds really scary, maybe even a little impossible. I get it. You got student loans, you're working tons of hours, and you may not even be a physician. Well, I am here to tell you that it's absolutely possible. Starting my own clinic was exactly how I started my healthcare entrepreneur career, and there's one specific type of clinic that almost anybody can open. Ketamine therapy is one of the most promising treatments in the fight against depression, PTSD, and chronic pain that we have ever seen. And thousands of patients across the country are looking for clinics in their area. The problem is that there aren't enough yet, and these patients need someone like you to open a ketamine practice in your hometown. Go to ketamineacademy.com/presentation for a no-cost 60-minute training on how to gain more freedom by opening up your own clinic. On the presentation, you'll discover why opening your own private clinic is a better decision than working more overtime or going back to school for another degree, why this one specific niche clinic is the easiest to open and doesn't require a bunch of cash to start, and how anyone can open this type of clinic, even if you're not a physician, by just following a few simple steps. So to register for this free training, just go to ketamineacademy.com/presentation. Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the Healthcare Entrepreneur Academy podcast. We are back here for another Tactical Tuesday episode, and on these episodes, I like to give a little insight into the things that we've been learning, implementing in our business, and things we've been studying about in courses or reading about in books, and hopefully it will help shortcut your path to entrepreneurial success. And so today I want to talk a little bit about online courses and the open-closed model versus the ongoing enrollment model, and which one I think is better for different situations, and some of the pros and cons of each model. So if you're not familiar, basically the open-closed model of online courses is that when you create and sell an online course, it's available for finite periods of time, sort of like going to an online college or something like that, where you have to enroll before the semester starts. Enrollment is closed during the semester, and then enrollment reopens back up prior to the following semester. So that's sort of the open-closed enrollment model, and there's some pros and cons to that model. The other model is the ongoing enrollment model, in which there's essentially open enrollment. Students can enroll from essentially anytime, 365 days a year, 24 hours a day. And pros and cons to that model also. So one of the things that I recommend, especially for those who are starting their first course or they're launching their first course, is the open-closed enrollment model. So many online gurus, there's a lot of people who really specialize and are adamant about the open-closed enrollment model, and then others are adamant about the ongoing / always open enrollment model. And people like Amy Porterfield do the open-closed enrollment, and they are firm believers that it can lead to better sales because it creates a sense of scarcity. And in marketing, we know that if you have some level of scarcity in your offer, that you're more likely to get more enrollments. It kind of entices people to want to enroll sooner than later, because if they don't enroll now, they're going to lose out. So it's a little bit of FOMO and scarcity as it relates to marketing with the open and closed. Now, the open and closed is also sort of a little bit more labor intensive, I think, in my own personal opinion, as a con, because you're essentially opening enrollment. So you're going to get a large influx of students. You're going to get a cohort of students. And depending on how many you enroll in your marketing and things like that. It could be a handful of students all the way up to maybe hundreds or even thousands of students. So essentially, with that large influx of enrollments is going to come a large influx of everybody moving through the exact same steps in the process of being a student at the exact same time. And so if there are any glitches or tech errors or even minor things like typos, everybody in that cohort is going to be experiencing that issue at the exact same time. And so there's going to be essentially floodgates of small little tech issues, small little maybe typos that people are finding. And so you're going to get a lot of service tickets in a large chunk in a small volume of time, or a large volume in a small period of time. So that can create some issues. You do have to be prepared for that, especially if you're doing, hundreds or thousands of enrollments at a time or during an open enrollment period. So that can be troublesome for some individuals, but if you're prepared for it, you have a tech person, you're basically everybody's working, all hands are on deck full time during that open enrollment period. And as people are moving through that, as that cohort's moving through the course, as long as you're prepared, it's all good. You'll get through it. And there are some benefits to that open closed enrollment period because having everybody move through the same program at the same time period creates a really awesome sort of camaraderie and community around the course. And if you have a group Facebook sort of platform or some sort of platform where everybody can communicate and talk to each other and have discussions as they're moving through the course. I like Facebook groups. I think they're wonderful. So that's what we use. But if you have something like that set up, you're going to start to see a lot of feedback, a lot of interactions, a lot of discussions happening because everybody's moving at the same time and you have this sort of camaraderie and sort of teamwork. Everyone's helping each other out. And so that has a huge benefit. If you have an open enrollment or ongoing enrollment type of course, there's going to be a lot less of that because everybody's going to be starting at different time periods. So for your first course launch, I highly recommend doing an open closed enrollment for the main benefit of having everybody move through at the same time. And I would make sure that you do some sort of a community in the form of a group, a Facebook group or LinkedIn group or something like that. So that way you can get in there, follow along with the discussions, provide Q&A, and really sort of see where things are missing potentially from your course. You can see if there's a trend in questions, then maybe that topic could be reworked or rewritten, or maybe you didn't even have it in your course at all. Maybe you need to add it. So that first cohort is going to give you a ton of information if you set up your course right. And that's why I think having open closed enrollment for your very first course or very first launch is the way to go. You want to be able to make sure that first group gets premium service from you, super high level of engagement, and then you can use a lot of that information to make improvements on the next iteration of your course, because you're always, if you have an online course, you're always going to be making improvements, making iterations. Sometimes there'll be micro adjustments here and there. Other times you may need to shut down your entire course for a period of time to allow you to do a major overhaul, that's something we actually just recently did with the Ketamine Academy. We did about 2 years of micro adjustments, adding content, moving content around. And then after about 2 years, we literally just shut it down for, it was almost 8 weeks actually, to do a complete overhaul of the course. And you will have to do that at some point. So there's a ton of value in doing that and having all that feedback, because when you go to make your adjustments, whether they're micro or macro adjustments to your course, and you're making those iterational changes, you'll have a ton of information to go on, and you will be able to have a great program, and you'll have delivered phenomenal service to that cohort as they're moving through. So I would recommend doing at least one open closed enrollment for your first launch. And I would consider even doing 2 after you've made those changes and you've relaunched the second time. I would consider maybe moving a second cohort through that program that you've tweaked and updated based on the first cohort's feedback. And then that might be a time to switch to ongoing enrollment. The benefits of ongoing enrollment are that these sales essentially trickle in. You don't have massive influx of students. You don't have massive influx of support tickets or questions. And so that can sort of simplify things. Things will come in slowly. You may get a few emails here. You may get, there may be a tech glitch here and there. So it's much easier to handle. You don't need all hands on deck all the time if you're doing ongoing enrollment. And so there's pros and cons to both. There's no one right answer. Both models work. But I do strongly think that for your first course, you should have open closed. For your first iteration, your first cohort, your first launch of your course, open closed enrollment is the way to go. If you guys, hopefully you found this episode valuable. If you're thinking about creating an online course, I want to give you some words of encouragement, because everybody who's listening has some knowledge, has some skill set that they can help somebody else with. There is something that you're really good at. There's something that people ask you for advice on or help with. There are exams that you have passed. There are certifications you have passed. There are specialties that you're really good at if you're still working full time. Whatever your specialty is, you can create an educational piece of content, some sort of course or coaching or mastermind, however you decide to deliver it. You can create that and people will pay for it. Creating the content is certainly the easiest part. Marketing and selling it is substantially more challenging, and doing it in a cost-effective way is certainly more challenging. But I want to offer you that piece of encouragement because it is a phenomenal business model. If you are thinking about starting brick and mortar, but you're not really sure, maybe you don't have the capital to do brick and mortar because there is a much larger capital outlay for that, then consider starting online and consider teaching others something that you're good at. You will probably be pleasantly surprised at the income that you can generate, mainly because there's almost no overhead to selling your knowledge online. All you really need is a microphone, a computer, a laptop, and a webcam. So the overhead required to create a program, a product, and sell it online is very minimal. And so I think everybody should be considering selling something online. And then once you sort of gone through your first couple cohorts and you have an ongoing enrollment, it's literally, you could be potentially generating revenue 365 days a year, 24 hours a day through your website when those who are looking for that information stumble across your website in your course and decide to enroll. And if you have any questions about creating online courses, I highly encourage you to jump in one of our Facebook groups. If you go to jasonduprat.com/group, you have the option to enroll not even enroll, just join one of our Facebook groups or both of them. We now have 2 Facebook groups. One is for brick and mortar businesses. The other is for digital or online businesses. So we'll keep those discussions sort of separate, and you can join one or you can join both. I think there's value to be had in both arenas. There's pros and cons to both arenas, but I think if you don't have an online income stream of some sort, you're really missing the ball big time, because the power of selling, especially selling knowledge online, it's tremendous. And once you have that set up, it creates a fairly passive income stream in many cases. Now, obviously, if you're doing like coaching or other things in addition to your course, then it's a little less passive, but it's still a phenomenal income stream and probably will compete with or probably blow out of the water what you're earning at an hourly rate by working for a practice or a hospital system or something like that. So if you guys are interested in learning how to do that, join the Facebook group for digital entrepreneurs and stay tuned for more posts, because we are going to be launching a training program for that. And we will be showing you not only how to create and host the content, but also how to sell and market it and have a profitable online course business. Keyword profitable. You see a lot of gurus out there promoting how much they've grossed, and I'm a big proponent of how much you net. So what you actually bring home and put in your pocket is the most important thing. Gross is sort of a bragging rights kind of number, but the most important thing is net. And if somebody's not going to talk about net or explain the importance of net, then you may want to look elsewhere for training, because net is really, really important. I could spend $100,000 on Facebook ads right today, and I could make $100,000, and I could go around saying I made $100,000 in one day when I've literally netted $0. So that's why that's so important. I could easily do that. We don't. We focus on net in our business, and if you're doing an online course or considering it, you should be focusing on your net as well. Well, anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this episode. Hopefully now you understand the difference between open enrollment and open closed enrollment and sort of the pros and cons of each. And I hope to see you in the Healthcare Entrepreneur Academy Facebook groups. Again, you can check those groups out by going to jasonduprat.com/groups and join one or join both. Anyways, guys, one of the biggest compliments that you can give us is to refer a friend to the podcast or share a podcast episode. And we would much appreciate it if you did us the honor of doing that for one of your favorite episodes or shows. So thank you for that. Thank you for all the support, and we will catch you on the next episode.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Healthcare Entrepreneur Academy. Want to connect with more like-minded healthcare entrepreneurs and professionals? Just head over to jasonduprat.com/group to join our Facebook family for real-time interactions, insight, and resources to get you one step closer to realizing your goal. We look forward to interacting with you, but until then, we'll catch you on the next episode of the Healthcare Entrepreneur Academy.